are the supplies that you're going to need for masking up a kitchen. We have 3 different types of tape. This is just the basic tape that we use on everything. This is 3M blue Scotch tape, pretty much for everything that we can mask up. We always have delicate tape for walls or ceilings or delicate areas. This is really important. And then we also have this orange tape, which just has a little more abrasive, and this is helpful, we'll see when we're masking up the drawer box. So we like to have all 3 on hand to make sure we have what we need. We have a big plastic. Make sure you get the 12 foot. The 10 foot sometimes doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. Here's the floor paper we use. We recommend this brown floor paper and not the rosin paper. The red rosin paper, from personal experience, can stain countertops, white countertops specifically. We also have cardstock, we have box cutter, scissors, drill with different drill bits. These bags here we always have on hand with our Sharpie so that we can label the client's name, and this is where we're going to keep all the screws. We label every single bag with the last name of the client and which type of screw is in there, so that on install day we're not relying on our memory for which screws go where. We have our zip wall pulls, we have basic brown paper, and then we have our dust extractor fan with a filter on it. So this is pretty much everything you're gonna need for masking up a kitchen. So the very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna protect some of the areas we don't want bad things to happen to. A glass stovetop. We've heard horror stories of people dropping items from the top and shattering the whole stovetop. So we just like to put, this is just a display board, you can get it from the Dollar Tree. We don't want screws falling into the sink, so we're gonna make sure, go ahead and plug this hole right here. Also something we've learned the hard way. Okay, step 1, we're gonna remove all of our hardware and we're gonna place it into these bags so that we don't lose it, and we're gonna make sure we label everything with the client's last name and exactly what's in that bag.
We've got to get these doors numbered. The way we're going to do this is we're going to put a piece of masking tape right where the handle goes. In the event that your door doesn't have hardware, this is a good way to remember exactly where the hole placement will be should you be drilling holes in new doors once you get them back to the shop. This is also why we open the door before we place the tape, just so we know exactly where that hardware is supposed to go.
Now that we have our tape placed, we're just gonna go through and label everything. So we do this the same way every time. We're always gonna start on our uppers, and we're gonna always work left to right. And once we get all of the uppers labeled, we'll drop down to our lower doors. We'll label those next, and we'll do the doors last. If we're taking the door face off, we are gonna make sure that we label the back here with an arrow pointing which way goes up. When we come back to replace this door, we want to know that this way is up, and we can just stick it straight on there. Very important step. Once you get everything labeled, you're just going to take a step back, and in this case, I'm going to make sure I can see all of my numbers in this video, and I'm just going to take a video. This is the most important part. Text that to your team because you will lose it.
No matter how you decide to label, just make sure you do it the same way every single time as to create a routine. Now you can remove the doors and drawers and move on to the next step.
Okay, the next step is floor protection. We use this brown paper from Sherwin-Williams. I would recommend not using the rosin paper, the red rosin paper. I wouldn't use that. There are some things you should be aware of. If it is a hardwood floor and you take a look at it, maybe it's a little bit older, sometimes the clear coat from that floor will come up. We let the homeowner know there is a chance that we could even use our most delicate tape. There's a chance that some of that lacquer could come up. If it's tile, you can just proceed like normal. You can use any tape on tile. That's always fine. If it's a hardwood surface, we want to do a little tape test before we just start laying tape down everywhere. First thing is we're going to outline every cabinet. You want to make sure your tape is not on the cabinet at all, because if it is, like so, once you paint this and you go to pull your tape up, you're going to see that that is still the old color. So we need a nice, clean, sharp line. So we're going to outline all the cabinets just like this.
Between you and me, this is our least favorite part as a team. So our rule is everyone does the floor at the very beginning. It needs to go down first anyway, and if we all pitch in, it gets done faster and it's not too hard on anyone's back or knees.
We're gonna do our countertops next. Important thing about countertops is we are gonna cover every square inch of the countertops. We definitely don't want paint under here either. You can use paper or plastic here, but we actually almost exclusively use paper, mostly for the reason that when you tear everything down, the paper holds the paint really well. It doesn't flake off or anything. Not to mention it's cheaper. So for countertops, we're going to work in sections. We tape this back part. Otherwise, dust will get up underneath here, and we certainly don't want air to get behind here and push everything out. So we want to make sure it's airtight. So this is pretty straightforward. Nothing here is rocket science. Something that I prefer when we are masking, I like for the tops of our appliances to be showing because I don't want to guess where these are. So what I like to do here is I'll just put a piece of tape down here. Yep. Making this airtight, that no dust can come get up underneath here. And always check this line. There's always, sometimes we have these little strips right through here. This happens a lot. So we're going to just go through here and we're going to do all of our countertops the exact same way. 2 is make sure not to get your tape on the cabinets again.
Moving on to backsplash, we're going to outline this as well. Occasionally this is greasy here, so you will have to clean it so that your tape will stick. But this part is pretty straightforward. We like to use brown paper here as well, although you can use plastic. We paint the bottom part of the upper cabinets, so it's important to have a nice straight line here. And it's also important to seal tight everything so that dust cannot get through. Now that we're on the wall here, be sure to use delicate tape. Before starting any project, we like to talk with the client and make sure they either have touch-up paint for their walls or they know the color. And we just like for them to be aware that even if we use our most delicate tape, it is still possible for the tape to peel the paint off the wall. Usually if they know ahead of time, they're okay with any outcome. We have to outline every single cabinet, and in this case, we'll use our delicate tape and make a nice straight line. We're using our 12-inch paper here to catch all the overspray.
Part's very important.
We extend our brown paper a foot behind the upper cabinet because this is a very easy spot to get overspray on. Don't worry about the wall here. We are going to extend some plastic in a little bit.
We use these display boards. We just set them right on top of the cabinet.
And protects from overspray. When the cabinets meet the ceilings, it's very important to mask the ceilings as well. Some people prefer to mask the entire ceiling, and that's okay. This is just how we do it. We use our 12-inch brown paper just to create an outline around the actual cabinets. We always carry a little container of ceiling touch-up paint just in case.
For the drawer boxes, we do like to put a little piece of tape here. Sometimes this part is connected to the actual box. That just makes it a little bit easier. We did use delicate tape. In this case, on this drawer box, there's an actual lip and you can put your finger behind it, which means tape can stick to this. Now, in the event that that wasn't there, we would want to go ahead and lay a flat piece of tape down right here, which we'll show you that just so you can see. I'll demonstrate how to create a little wall here. I'm going to tape it along this purple line, and I'm going to connect it on the right and the left sides there, really good, pushing it down, and then I'm just going to fold up a little wall. See, nice and simple. Now right here along this side, there's a very nice lip, so this is going to be easy to stick the tape to. Occasionally though, it's very dusty or dirty back there and our tape doesn't stick well. So sometimes you have to take a little rag and wipe it down, but if it feels okay, we're going to use our orange tape here, which just has a little bit more stickiness to it, to put behind this wall here. All we're trying to do is create an outline here that we can stick our plastic to. The trick here is that you slide your tape behind here and you're going to use your fingers to press it down really good on that cabinet box. Otherwise, while you're spraying, you'll start spraying, the air will hit that tape and it'll push it off and you'll have a big hole in there. It's super frustrating. Be really careful. Sometimes there's nails sticking out back here. So when you're sliding your hand across this, just be very careful. So once you have that on there, it's nice and secure. We're literally just going to do this all the way around to create a frame. You can use plastic or paper. We used to use plastic, but paper is so much cheaper, and also when you tear down, the folds don't peel off, so we just honestly prefer it. So we're gonna make a nice straight line at the top here, and we're just gonna go ahead and connect the paper to the tape. And fold it all the way down, making sure we leave the lip exposed so that we can get paint on it. And here at the bottom, we're just gonna fold it up and go ahead and connect it. Nice, easy line. And if you push on this paper here, you can feel that no air can get through. Again, that's the most important thing, because if air can get through, that means dust or paint can get through, and we definitely don't want that. Easy enough. Now we just need to add our second piece of paper. Some people prefer to go all the way around and add another piece of tape on the outside. In our experience, that is not necessary. We do put a piece of tape down the center connecting these two brown papers, but we don't find it necessary to go all the way around, as long as when you push on the paper, it's really stuck to the tape and no paint can get through.
Now repeat for all other boxes or openings. It's the same process for drawer box openings. Sometimes we do leave the drawers inside and we just mask around them. The only thing different is for these little drawer slides as well. Time to mask some appliances. Let's start with the microwave. We outline with cardstock. Here on the side, you can push it in a little bit so that the cardstock can easily slide behind. You can also use brown paper, but we find that the cardstock's a little thicker, so it's easier to remove at the end. Always use delicate tape and use as little as possible. Once everything is outlined, we will add plastic to the front. So I just cut a little piece of plastic here. And the key here is that it is airtight, that no dust can come underneath this. The bottom is a little different on every microwave. Sometimes the area right next to the bottom here needs to be painted, so we'll account for that, but in this case, no. So we're just going to, again, put some tape down and make sure it's airtight. Onto the stove. All appliances are pretty much the same for us, where we outline the outside and then put plastic on the front. This bottom part is very important. I'm going to zoom in. You need to make sure the paper goes all the way behind the baseboard. Additionally, we're going to make sure the tape goes all the way to the baseboard as well, so nothing can get under here. That will secure the side so it doesn't come off while spraying. Now we just put our plastic on the front, again making sure everything is airtight. My first piece of plastic is just to cover the front, and I'm going to do a line all the way around the front with tape. I'm masking the top in 2 sections so that air doesn't get in here and push my plastic up. Outline and secure everything with tape on all sides. Nothing more annoying than air getting back here and pushing up your plastic while you're trying to paint. This is looking pretty good. Now let's move on to the dishwasher. Again, it's all the same. We're going to outline the outsides with cardstock using delicate tape only, and then we're going to place our plastic on the front. Everything needs to be sealed off with tape so there is no way dust can get underneath here. The cabinet part is very exposed, and that's perfect because we don't want this in our way when we are painting.
I do this thing a little different. Just like around the stove, I like to go ahead and seal these 2 sides tight, but I like to have access to the sinks. I also like to see the hole where the sink is so that there's no accidents of people stepping into this space, which can happen and has happened. So what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna tape up this side here. I'm gonna pull this across, and this is a pretty big piece of plastic, so I'm gonna go ahead and save some of that. Here, here. Okay. Dust goes everywhere in this space, so I want to minimize that as much as possible. Sometimes I want to still have access to this, so we keep cheapy bags in our kit that we can just throw over this. And just before we spray, if we want, we can tape this down too if needed. But again, I like this setup because I want to be able to have access to this water if I need it. That's how we do the sink. See how you can see where not to step? That's what we want. The fridge can be a little tricky, but what we're gonna do is kind of like we did our boxes. We're just going to put some tape behind the frame here, secure it really good, and we're gonna do it on the top here and on the side. Our plastic can just kind of connect to that. Now the fridge area is different in almost every space. Really, the main thing you want to do here is you just want the entire fridge to be covered, but you want the frame that where you're going to be painting to be exposed. You don't want a lot of loose plastic flying around.
Usually our clients move the fridge out of the spray zone, but in the event they don't, this is how we mask it. And that is something we talk about before the project even begins. We don't leave this masked for a long period of time just while we're spraying because this needs to vent. We also don't move the fridge unless the client is present to guide us. It's a huge liability, and we've definitely scratched floors before, so be very careful doing this.
So we're going to build our wall now. This part can be a little different depending on what space you're in. In this case, we know that it is tall enough because these are 9-foot ceilings. And all we're going to try to do is create an airtight room so that dust or fumes really can't get out. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and lay out the path that I want to take with it, and then I'll cut it. Then I'll use my zip wall poles here to actually lift it up to the ceiling. In a space this small, what we would do to get in and out of the spray room is we'll just move a pole as we need to, just back and forth to make a door to go in and out. But you can also use the zippers, the sticker zippers, and you can attach it and create a door. So and then in this case, I'm going to go ahead and cover up this entire wall, just so there's no overspray on doorknobs and decorations and stuff like that. Once we have it that way, we're just going to start on this side with our first pole. The way we're going to attach this, I'm going to double it here, that plastic, and then I'm going to lift this top part first, all the way up, and then I'm going to tighten it right here. Just twist to tighten. So once that one's tight, then I'm going to use this bottom one to see how high I need to get it up there. I'm going to try to make this as airtight as possible. Once I have it where I want it, I'm going to push it up as far as it'll go so that it's nice and tight, and then I'm going to twist right here. And that'll make it nice and sturdy. And before I attach the bottom, I'm actually going to go all the way around. These do need a lot of adjustments, so this one's just a little bit too far. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it back in. You just have to go up and down with these just a few times to get it exactly where you want it to go. So again, I'm going to raise the top, tighten it, and then I'm going to raise up this part. Still not there. As you can see, we have a giant hole up there. And I'm going to try to... All right, that one is a little bit better. See how it's airtight at the top? And that's exactly what we want. And then I'm going to lift this bottom one up, and then I'm going to tighten it. I'm actually going to go all the way down this wall here. Oh, that was perfect on the first try. That never happens. And again, it's airtight at the top. Before I close my wall in, we have our non-combustible fan here. And I'm going to need to have a place where I can plug this in, which I have right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just slide this right here away from the cabinets. That leaves room for me to put a filter over it. And then I'm going to attach the rest of my wall here. Okay, so I'm going to pause right here. I'm going to deal with that last. So where we started our wall, which is right here, I'm actually going to go ahead and start securing the bottom. Because as soon as I turn that fan on, the air is just going to push this whole thing out. Because I'm going to actually put a fan for intake right here. And for this side here, all I have for this is just a standard box fan or even a smaller fan. It's nothing fancy. We don't have anything like that right now. It could be anything. The whole point is that it's just going to be able to push in fresh air. Okay. Okay, so when she's attaching the plastic here, she is going to attach it to the wall with delicate tape, and she's not going to attach it to the paper because if the wall comes down, we don't want to pull the paper down with it. So this is where it's going to exit. All we're going to do is we're going to drop our fan outside. Now we have this big gap right here, and it's really hot in Texas, so we are going to go ahead and just cover this doorway with plastic so that the door is not staying open the entire time we're working in here, also to get really hot. So we're literally just gonna take our plastic and we're gonna basically from here to here all the way down, we're just gonna secure this to the wall. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we don't want any of this plastic loose here, so we're gonna tape it all the way down because once we turn this fan on, we don't want this plastic being sucked up in there. And then we're just gonna create an airtight seal around this fan, and we have our hose going to the outside. You can also run your hose through a window. If there's a window in the kitchen, that works too. In this case, there's not a window, so we're just gonna use this. So we're just gonna tape all of this up, and this will be done. And then we're gonna have a filter, just a standard filter. Doesn't even have to be like anything expensive, just something you get from Walmart. It's gonna go here so that it's gonna catch the dust. So that what we're putting outside is just venting fumes. It's not actual dust or anything on the client's patio. We are going to I'm gonna have to tape this entire floor down here so it's nice and secure. And you can use a box fan, you can use anything for this part. This just so happens to be the fan. It's a little mobile fan that we take with us places. And we're just gonna use this little guy for some intake air. He's not fancy, but he will get the job done. We don't want a bunch of air blowing in here anyway. So once I get that little guy set up, I'm just gonna tape it around. This was done really well, I mean. Yep. So that when I turn this on, I'm just gonna have a little bit of clean air coming in, and then the big fan will take the dirty air out. We hope this instructional masking video helps you in your business, or if you're just a homeowner looking to paint your kitchen. More videos coming soon for how to prep and paint your kitchen after you get it masked.
If you like this video series, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all the things. We super appreciate it, and we appreciate you for watching.